We can turn to step by step formal invention techniques that should consistently yield us ideas. That being said, expanding our well of ideas may leave us with a lot, but not a clear path forward through all the good new options. That's where planning or organization becomes important. Planning and writing is focused on putting all the ideas together in a way that will make sense and helps us know what to do in what order. Plenty of writers jump straight into drafting after they come up with informal ideas, only to get discouraged when they realize they aren't sure what should be done first. Other times, they create a full draft only to realize it doesn't meet all the objectives of the project. But plans help us with all sorts of things, like how much time to budget for this assignment versus other assignments, and what tasks make sense to do right now versus which ones actually aren't very time sensitive. And just like there are different ways to tackle invention, there are different planning strategies too. For one, different tasks require different levels of formal planning. Like a quick list of ordered tasks may suit some projects. In other cases, a thorough outline with bullet points and a set of detailed footnotes could be what we need to manage a larger project with multiple collaborators. And figuring out what you need and knowing how much detail to put into our plans is part of developing our planning skills. As we practice, we'll sometimes realize that making a 17-page list of steps to write this one important email was, in fact, overkill. Each plan gives us a better sense of what works for us. Again, we'll talk more later on in the series about different planning techniques, but for now, we can think about two big categories. Macro planning tends to focus on the major pieces in a project. This could be determining the different pages to include in a website or the overall narrative arc of a novel, with what will happen at the beginning, middle, and end. Macro planning can save a lot of time down the road by helping us know the full scope of a project. And micro planning is getting into more details. It might be a chapter by chapter outline of each character's actions in a novel. Or for a website, it might include notes on what graphics we want to include, how much text and what kinds, and any key links we want to include in each of the pages. Microplanning is a valuable tool for feeling more confident about the direction of a project and exactly how long it will take. Basically, the more details we work out in planning, the faster and clearer the drafting process can be. So, there are lots of ways to incorporate invention and planning into your writing process, and we'll keep showing the different ways they can be used and intersect. For me, after having my aha or that seems weird moment when reading, I start researching. And while I'm researching, I make lots and lots of notes with additional questions and observations. In some ways, this invention stage is also where I start my drafting process. Invention and planning give us techniques to get from that wide eyed moment when we face a new writing task to the point where we're ready to start drafting and confident of what steps we'll need to take. Parachuting into the middle of the writing process by skipping invention and planning is a recipe for stress and less effective writing, just like parachuting into the Arctic Circle in your swimsuit would be a recipe for, well, nothing good. While there are always exceptions, it's generally a good idea to follow the rule at first, at least until you know how to adapt it to fit your own process. For most of us, when we put our brains to work with formal invention techniques and organize those thoughts into a clear plan, we're much better prepared for even the most complicated writing task.